I don't know any of the rest of the words.
Just meet me on the spot.
Meet me at the Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Doing things today.
I have an episode for you.
Okay.
On the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery podcast.
Oh, this isn't on the podcast?
I can see why you'd think that, Kara.
By the way, I'm Kara.
I'm Megan. Hello.
Hello.
So today's episode is possibly one of the shortest episodes I've ever
Short side
done.
piece.
The whole thing is, in this episode, it's one of those that I looked at before and I was like, gosh, there's just not enough.
I hate it when I find something that's like intriguing and then I'm like, oh.
But on the other hand, that's why we started doing the side pieces. So I'm like, okay, it's just that this is a murder one. And I always feel like a murderer
Deserves more time.
deserves a full episode. But it's like, there's literally no more information about this one than what I'm about to give you. I do think that this one was suggested to us by someone on TikTok or Facebook or something.
Somewhere.
I cannot find it anywhere.
So shout out to you.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I generally try to keep record of where we get our story suggestions from. And for some reason, I didn't write this one down. But I swear
It came from somewhere.
it came from somewhere. Plus, it's not, like I said, there's no info hardly out there on it, which makes it probably wasn't something I heard about anywhere else. So, okay. For this one, we're going back to 2001. And I want to introduce you to Jessie Marie Twilight Song Crooks.
How amazing is that?
It's a perfect name.
That's amazing.
She was 15 and she lived with her dad and stepmother in Bowling Green, Kentucky. She was 5'6" and weighed less than 100 pounds, and she was half American Indian. She'd been originally born in New Mexico, and her Indian heritage is something that was celebrated in her life. Good. And I feel like once you learn that she's like half American Indian and you go back and you're like, Jessie Marie Twilight Song, you know, it's just... She's described as bubbly and genuine and extroverted with a contagious smile. I also read something that she loved sun and star images, which so do I.
I love her.
And she just seems like a happy, friendly, likable kid. And I realize that after someone dies, particularly if it's tragically, you're going to hear only good things about her.
Right.
But it's also, I mean...
That's all there was to say about her.
I mean, they just talk about how she's a nice kid. You know, typical teenager, friendly, extroverted, loved being around people. On August 28th, 2001, she hung out with her friends. They had dinner and then they listened to music and talked and just did like typical teenager things that you do, you know. Aww. She came home that night, said goodnight to her parents, and went to her room. At about 10:50 p.m., she got a phone call. This call would later be traced to a payphone outside of the Plano Country Store in Bowling Green. I think I added the in Bowling Green part myself. It's possible that it's not actually in Bowling Green. But I do know that it was nearby. So I went ahead and...
said it was Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Something close, guys.
We don't know who called her, but Twilight snuck out that night on foot. And it's presumed that she went to meet whoever called her.
Mystery caller.
Did you ever sneak out?
At night? No.
How do you sneak out during the day? What? From where?
My house.
Were you in a... How was it sneaking out in the day? You just weren't allowed to go when you went?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? You could leave your house.
Yeah, no. I wasn't allowed to go.
I never snuck out of my parents' house because we lived out in the country.
We did too.
And for one, there was just no way to sneak out of my house. But if I had gotten out, also I lived in deep fear of getting in trouble. But
not me. Now I'm a rule follower. No.
I was definitely more of a rule follower as a kid.
Yeah.
But like, it's an old house. Stairs creaked. It was just one of these things.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I never even wanted to. It wasn't like I was like, oh man, I'd sneak out if it wasn't for this squeaky step.
Yeah.
Because if I had gotten out, I mean,
where are you going?
A coyote would have eaten me for sure.
Yeah.
But at other friends' houses, we would sneak out. And it was always stupid because there would be nowhere to go. Like you would just get out and you'd have this moment of like, well, we're outside. There is literally nothing to do. It's Lancaster, Kentucky. There's nowhere to go.
You know, nothing's going to be open.
Also, I never snuck out when I was like a teenager. Right. It was like when you're
in middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not going to go anywhere.
No.
So you'd be
out. And you don't have money
let's
to go
home.
do anything.
Yeah. And it's so late. There's nothing to do.
You don't.
Lancaster closed down at like
when
7
you're a
p.m.
country girl, you know better than to go cow tipping. That's not a thing.
Or snipe hunting.
You're going to go get attacked by a bull, and there's no such thing as a snipe. It's going to be a feral raccoon coming at your face.
So, feral raccoon.
Also, there's water moccasins. You just don't.
Yeah, the whole thing of sneaking out just never really...
No.
It just didn't appeal to me. It's presumed, like I said, that she went to meet whoever called her.
Okay, mystery caller.
She was never seen alive again. The following morning, when her parents discovered she wasn't in her room, they reported her missing immediately.
Okay.
An investigation and search began, and people just hoped that she would run away. Although it didn't really seem to fit her personality to run away.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, I know I did some uncharacteristic things when I was a teenager. 13 days later, on September 10th, 2001, a man was walking his dog off a train, but 100% meant to say off a trail. Off a trail on Matlock Old Union Church Road when the dog caught the scent of something and took off. So the man followed his dog into this wooded area nearby, and just inside the tree line, he discovered a skeletal body, which appeared to be female due to the remnants of clothing found with it.
Oh, wow.
So due to decomposition and animal activity and just being outside like that in late August in Kentucky, there had been quite a bit of decomposition, even though it was only been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
They weren't able to make a positive identification right then, but forensic anthropologist Emily Craig used dental and medical records to positively ID the body as Twilight Crooks. Even though it was described as remnants of clothing found with the body, it said that she was found fully clothed, so they must have been able to tell that, even though animals had probably gotten some of it, that she had been fully clothed.
Yeah.
Whoever left her there had tried to cover the body with leaves, and there were plants that had like been pulled up with their roots still attached, kind of laying across her.
Oh.
So, police have said that they recovered several pieces of key evidence from the scene, but they haven't released what any of that was. It's one of those things where they're like, we have to keep this a secret because it's things only the killer would know, which I completely understand. But I mean, it's been 20 years.
Right.
Like, if there are several pieces of evidence, maybe just like give us one.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I'm sure they have their reasons. I understand. I do completely agree with the thing of like, don't release what you know.
Right.
I get mad when the press releases something that the police didn't want as public, you know.
Yeah.
But also there has to be a balance.
Right. Like, gotta know something.
Yeah. So anyway, the area where her body was dumped could only be accessed by a nearby gravel road. And like I said, she'd been left just inside where the wooded area began, which makes it seem like whoever put her body there was familiar with the area.
Okay.
It was just this random secluded spot at the end of a twisting farm road immediately behind fields where tobacco had been recently cut and staked.
Oh.
Police think she was either driven or walked to that spot where her body was left.
No.
And even though it's like a secluded area, it was less than 5 miles from the subdivision where Twilight lived.
Oh my gosh.
And that part really gets me. Like, she was less than 5 miles from home. The whole time they're looking for her, she was just less than 5 miles away. It's just heartbreaking to think about for her poor parents.
Right.
Police believe Twilight died the night she disappeared. I think they're basing that on the level of decomp.
Okay.
It doesn't appear that she was killed where her body was found. So remember how I said she was fully clothed?
Right.
She was wearing a men's extra large Edmonson County baseball jersey with the number 10 on it. Her parents didn't recognize it, but when police traced it back to wherever she got it from, it didn't lead anywhere.
Okay.
She was also barefoot, which could either be because her shoes were left wherever they killed her, or maybe in the killer's car if there was a car. Or she could have just went barefoot. She was known to go barefoot sometimes, so that wouldn't be out of the ordinary. And it would also imply a certain level of comfort with whoever she was going to meet. Right. But I'm also like, would you sneak out and not wear shoes? Maybe you would.
You're going to step on glass. You're going to step on... Or would you not carry your shoes with you?
I don't know. She also had a purple fossil watch that has never been recovered.
Oh.
Which is something to keep in mind if you happen to have been in the area or known anyone or whatever.
Yeah.
If there was a random fossil watch, purple fossil watch, maybe tell somebody.
Yeah.
Police did recover DNA from the scene, and they put it into CODIS. And it hasn't led to any hits yet, but it would mean that if they do have a suspect, they could have something to match it up to.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, for her to sneak out like that, we can probably pretty safely assume that Twilight knew her killer.
Exactly.
But I mean, like, how well?
Well,
I mean,
And also, maybe she did know who she was talking to on the phone, but what happens if, like, somebody just snatched her up when she was headed to, like, talk to that person?
Or if they had a friend with them that she didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also possible that people who knew Twilight also knew her killer.
Right.
This is a quote from one of the articles I read. Twilight trusted her killer, and that decision cost her her life.
No.
It's up to those who knew and loved her to speak up for her. That is really sad. She trusted
so
this person,
yeah.
and it was just the wrong person.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, in the 20 years since Twilight's murder, forensic analysis and investigative technology have come a long way. And since they recovered DNA evidence, there's a lot of hope that this is a murder that can be solved.
Yeah.
I think that the timing of it, which is right before September 11th, 2001, is unfortunate. I mean, her body was found the day before. It was like at 4 p.m. On September 10th. And then, of course, around, almost 9 a.m. September 11th is when
everything happened.
The world changed. Yeah. So, and that I always say, like, the media tells us what to care about. Like, back then, the attacks on the World Trade Center.
That was it.
That's all anybody talked about, which had to have been incredibly frustrating for her parents.
Yeah.
Just to be like, no one's talking about this.
Yeah. How do we get this out here?
They do periodically discuss, how it's like, it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years. And that has led to more information coming in. Like, people will call in leads. And they actually, I think it was May of this year, they were like, we've sent physical evidence to be reexamined. We've given stuff to the FBI laboratory for analysis. Like, recent leads have been helpful. And the sheriff released a statement that said, as we prepare this case for prosecution, any additional help will further substantiate the physical evidence obtained. If you have any knowledge on this case, now is the time to come forward. If you believe you may have seen or heard anything pertaining to this case investigation, you need to contact the Warren County Sheriff's Office immediately. It's been 20 years.
Wow.
And her dad said, we are no closer than we were on day one. Someone knows something.
That's so sad.
It's just that it seems like we are a little closer because the sheriff's office is talking like there are things happening. But again, it may be stuff that they're just not telling.
Well, yeah. And it's an open case, but that's so frustrating.
Oh, I can't imagine being the parent. I mean,
yeah.
If you have any information on Twilight's death, please contact the Warren County Sheriff's Office at 270-842-1633. You can also reach out to Crime Stoppers. A $10,000 reward is being offered to anyone with information that can lead to the arrest and conviction of the person or people responsible. This is another thing that blows my mind to think about.
Yeah.
How do you commit a murder and move
Sit
forward?
on it. Yeah.
Especially if you think that this was, a teenager or a younger person.
Right.
Did they go on to kill anybody else? Was it some horrible accident?
Right.
Did they invite her out to kill her that night?
Right. It's kind of like that Up and Vanish story.
Yeah.
Like, they just kept going on with their lives. They dated.
Like, how? How
does your conscience
function?
Let you hold this in?
You have to have some sort of, like, something must happen in your brain. It splinters off and shuts itself. Like, how would you be able to move forward?
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. It seems like you'd be in just constant, like, fear.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe after this much time has passed, you're just like, well, that's the thing that happened and I got away with it.
Yeah. And it is what it is. I'm moving on.
I just can't believe it. No. So that's it. That's all I have on Twilight Crooks. I wish I had more. I would love to tell more about her. I'd love to talk about her more as she was in life.
Yeah.
She seems like a lovely little girl.
Lovely young lady.
And, my own daughter is 15, so I have an attachment to. I could just picture it,
I know.
So I really hate that this is a case I'd never heard of before. I hate there's not more out there to talk about, which may be why it's not one I've heard of before. But please talk about it. Start talking about it. And if you live in the area, keep talking about it. All right. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thanks so much.
If you would like to send us anything, we'd love to talk about it. You can reach us at witchesmagicmurdermystery@gmail.com.
Yep. Or hit us up on Instagram. You can message us on there, or you can just click on the link in our bio and it'll take you to all the places. Yep. Shopping.
Yeah. The Patreon. We haven't talked about the Patreon in a few episodes. So
there are so many episodes on the Patreon right now to catch up on that are not on our regular feed.
Yeah. There's 2 levels, and there are 2 extra episodes plus a video released every month. And we have high hopes starting in the next year starting next year to add more content to that as more more benefits to you guys. So if you are interested in that, you can check out the Patreon. If you go to the links in our show notes, the links to everything we ever talk about
is all there.
Is in there. Okay. We love you.
All right. So much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.